Today in this video session we will discuss about NFS, how NFS works on Solaris. Well, so let's go ahead to log in the server first. Now our server is ready. This is our server, IBM 1, IBM 2, IBM 3 as well, IBM 4. This is the client machines. Okay. Before start the practical session, let me mention something about NFS. Why we need, what is this, and for what purpose exactly we are using, and what is the merit. Okay, NFS is nothing but network file system which works over NAS, is nothing but network as a service. On network as a service, and on network, how we can share file systems from host machine to client machine, or from one machine to another machine you can say. This is about this mechanism. Okay. Moreover, why we need this mechanism? Why we can't go for there have many more mechanism, right? There have Samba. Okay, we can configure Samba, and we can on over that we can configure LDAF as well. We can use that, right? Instead of that, why still organization are preferring to use NFS? Okay, because on all over the mechanism, merit demerit is there. Compared to Samba, NFS is having more merit, right? So let's go ahead to do the same practical session. So for that we will come to know what merits are there. And about Samba, I will share that video session in my next session. So for that you will be understanding, and you will be getting to know what is the exact difference between NFS and Samba, and NIS and LDAP, right? So here let's discuss about first the theoretical part about NFS mechanism, and then we'll go for the practical session, and next day we'll discuss about Samba with LDAP, right? So now about this NFS, what is the merit of this NFS? As I mentioned, NFS works over network. This mechanism nature is nothing but how we can share our file system over network from one server to another client, right? This is the main things. And which mechanism used to work in heterogeneous field? Again, what is the difference between heterogeneous and homogeneous, which I already been explained in my previous session when I explained about FTP. But still, let me put this as well. Heterogeneous is nothing but when a mechanism works, or when a software works in different OS level. Again, what is OS level? It's not like OS version, okay, or not like current version. It's nothing but the different architect. It's nothing but the different vendor. How? Again, it is in Unix family we have four OS, right? HP Unix, IBM AX, Solaris, and Linux, isn't it? Which mechanism works in Unix flavor? That's called homogeneous. And which mechanism work on different architect, called, like, if you want to do something from your Unix, and the same you want to perform over Microsoft Windows, or you want to perform over Mac, Apple, or you want to perform over a smartphone. Okay, which mechanism works from Unix flavor to different architect, to different OS vendor, that's called, it means the mechanism is working over heterogeneous field. Now, this NFS is a mechanism which mechanism nature to share the file system from Unix to different vendor of OS, right? It can support in homogeneous. So now this practical session I will share how it is to work in homogeneous session, and how it is to work in homogeneous, the same procedure it is to work in the heterogeneous as well. Okay, I'll give some of the example how it is to work in homogeneous. In heterogeneous, suppose you want to share a file from Unix to Windows. From Unix you need to share. Once you share, the same you need to mount. The same you need to mount from Windows, which Windows team will take care. From your end, you just need to share from Unix system. That's it. So that is called the how this mechanism works over heterogeneous. Okay, and moreover, this is storage cost costing. Again, how storage cost costing? If you want to manage lakh more user, how you will manage their users data? As a Unix admin, you cannot visit lakh more system to daily wise. Or so for that, you cannot advise to your management to hire multiple Unix administrator who can manage it. For lakh more user, okay, if it's required, then hire 25,000 Unix administrator who can perform the same. Instead of hiring 25,000 Unix administrator, okay, one admin, he can perform the same from his end. How it can possible? Yes, it can possible by this mechanism. So instead of hiring from the management team 25,000 Unix administrator, one administrator can perform this work by few minutes, right? So how it will be? If 25,000 Unix administrator management team is going to hire, it means they are going to do the same task the user system itself. But NFS mechanism nature is not like that. NFS mechanism nature is how a file system can share from one host to another host, from one host to many more user. Okay, so if a file system can share from one host to another host, or from one host to many more user, it means from which host you are sharing, from which server you are sharing, that's on that server you do have to set, again it depends how many storage box you want, how much hard disk you want. That hard disk should be attached in that server, from which server you are going to share the file. So it means you are sharing the file from one server to another server. So it's not required to manage file system from the different server, or not required to attach hard disk in different client system. So you are attaching hard disk in a particular server from which server you are sharing the file system, right? So it means instead of spending currency, instead of using organization currency in different way, so save those currency, okay, less number of currency, use and buy the hard disk and attach in that particular server from which server you want to share file system to another client. Then here, if you do like this, then here it will be game over, then less expenditure and user is getting service. Well, so this is the attitude of NFS mechanism. This is the nature of NFS mechanism, you can say. Well, next. Again, it provides data consistency as well reliability. What data consistency and reliability? Consistency and reliability is nothing but, suppose you shared a file system from NFS server to many more users. So at a time, n number of users, they can access the same directory file system, which file system you share from NFS server, without any hang, without any slowness. Multiple user, n number of user, many more user, it's up to you, whatever you can say, they can access, okay, at a time, the same time. This is called consistency and reliability. They can access, they can read, they can write, they can edit, they can execute whatever they want as per the permission. They can do their work without any slowness. That is called consistency and reliability. Well, multiple user can access the data from over the network at a same time. Okay. As well, the most important thing, as I mentioned earlier, it is reducing the administrative work. One admin, he can perform his task from his system, from NFS server. So for that, here 25,000 Unix administrator is not required to perform this thing. If mechanism is available, then why it's required to hire 25,000 Unix administrator for an organization from management? It's a more expenditure, right? If mechanism is there and one Unix admin can perform the same, then no use to hire 25,000 Unix admin guy, right? However it is, so how I mentioned, this is all about NFS nature, how it used to work. Now let's go ahead to do the practicalization. So for that, it will be better understanding for us how this NFS mechanism works over Solaris, right? Now what I'll do, I'll just create a directory here. Before creating a directory, let me create a partition, or let me check whether any partition is free. So if you execute echo format, it will show you how many disks is available in the server. I do have only 2 disks. The 01 is my root disk where my OS is there. 1 is nothing but my data disk. Okay, let me open the 1 format, give 1. It will be a bit slow because at a time I open 4 server, so have patience, don't get any panic. Then P, again P, yes I do have. Okay, so let's take 0. Okay, 0. Let's check 0. So what I'll do now, let me format it first. New fs /dev /rdsk c1 t1 d0 and s0. Hit enter. Why? It will be formatting. Now it's done. Now I want to create a directory, ORDB. Okay, enter. Now I want to put some data in this ORDB. Okay, so this is actually I'm creating a directory here on which data I'll put data. Okay, I'll put some data. Later, if I suppose now if I want to mount from here, I can mount it. Okay, but usually here I want to mention here one more thing. From NFS server, if you want to mount your NFS file system, you can mount. It's up to you. But usually in the real environment, we are not mounting. We are not mounting. If you will mount, what it will do, it will reduce your system booting performance. So usually we are not mounting. If you want to mount, then so for that you need to create a file system, and that file system you need to mount here. Okay. Obviously you need to do like that. But here in the different host or on the different system, the different end user system, what you need to do, you should not mount in VFS tab. Okay, if it will mount in VFS tab, okay, what will happen? It may not mount properly, or you may face in the some other issue. So permanent mount is not required in the client and user, but still if you want, you can mount it when system is going to reboot. I mean the when you have done user Unix admin, they did patching and all in the server, or they did something, that install some other packages and so forth, that system reboot is required. It means when what I like to say, when system is rebooted, or system is going to boot from Unix admin guy, okay, that time your NFS mount point will, it may not mount automatic, so that we need to mount manually. At that moment we need to do it. Okay, before rebooting the server, we need to check, we need to take the pre-check. Okay, you need to take in the you need to execute cat /etc/vfs tab, so for that we will come to know how many normal file systems are there and how many this one NFS file systems are there. This we need to take. Apart from this as well, we need to check in the pre-check whatever is required. What is required, we need to check what IP is there, we need to check which versions of kernel is there, we need to execute the mount, then only will come to know whether temp file system read only format or different one. We need to check that as well. We need to check how many kernels are there. We need to check permit root login for SSH /cat/etc/sssd_config 5 grep and permit. We need to check that as well, what permit root login, yes or no. Okay, what is that, and we need to check pmon OSSRC as well as TNS. Okay, pmon is nothing but DVS, TNS we need to check, and OSSRC as well, OSSRS as well we need to check. So how it will be, we need to execute like ps-ef 5 grep -i OSSRS, again ps-ef 5 grep -i TNS, again ps space -ef space 5 space grep -i, then which one is running pmon. So for that it will show whatever DV is available in that particular system. Okay, then once you taken this thing, and one here also you need to execute netstart -nr to check how many IPs are there in the routing table as well. Okay, this information you need to check in the pre-check. Okay, and after that, after your every work is done, you need to reboot, and once you reboot, you need to check post check, you need to matching with your pre-check where everything is fine, is there fine or not. But here the main concern what I am trying to mention you, you need to first give reference to your NFS file system, whatever file system you, because this suppose this is the trouble and you are working, you need to check in the NFS server what file system you shared from the NFS server, and the same one is mounted in the NFS client or not, which servers is rebooted right now. You need to check there. If it's not mounted, then you need to mount manually, and once you mounted manually, then only user can access, whoever need to. Okay, so this is what it used to work, and it's a bit troubleshoot part what I mentioned, what I faced a few more times. By this way I troubleshooted. Okay, so however it is, now I created a directory called OraDB. In that OraDB I'll put some data. Okay, so let's go ahead to put etc password and /etc shadow /etc let's put group where I want to put OraDB. All the information is there, right? How I'll come to know whether all the information is copied or not there? So I can execute ls-ltr and OraDB. See, password, shadow, group, all are there. Now which permission? This general permissions is there. Okay, now what I'll do, now I'll go to that configuration file of NFS /etc/dfs/dfs tab, hit enter. Here I'll write share, capital -F NFS, then which one? OraDB, right? Need to write OraDB. Okay, then save this. Once you save this, you need to execute export fs-v. Now you need to execute show mount hyphen e. Export fs hyphen va means it will be exporting all the NFS file system, whichever file system you retain in the share point, or you return in the DFS configuration file, or you can say which share point you return in the which share parameter you return in the NFS configuration file is nothing but /etc/dfs and /dfs tab. Okay, and show mount is nothing but it will show whichever mount you are going to share to client. So mount hyphen e you need to execute from the server. If it's client, then so mount hyphen e, and that from which server, that server IP or host name you need to give. Now let's hit enter key. What is showing here? Export list for IBM 1. Okay, for IBM 1 is nothing but from IBM 1 we are exporting this ORADB to everyone. To everyone is nothing but I am sharing to a IBM 2, IBM 3, IBM 4, whoever want, wherever you want, you can mount it. Okay, now let's go ahead to mount from the client end. Now I'll create a directory called test. So this one I want to mount to that NFS mount point. How I'll mount? Mount hyphen f NFS, then IBM1 is nothing but that server host name from where you share that NFS. Okay, then which one? ORADB, then where you want to mount test. Hit enter. Now df hyphen fs. See, test has been mounted. Test has been mounted to this. Right, test has been mounted to this. Now if you want to work, so now if you want to work, I will show you later. So now let's go ahead to mount this, whether we are able to mount, I mean at a time multiple user, at a time many more user, whether are they able to mount or not. So let's mount the same ORADB from IBM 3. Let's create a directory called test1. I want to mount here as well. Mount hyphen f NFS, then IBM1 colon slash ORADB test1. See, test1 as well mounted with ORADB. Right? Now the same I want to mount in IBM4 as well. So let's create a directory here called test2. Now if you execute df hyphen, it's not mounted, right? Now I want to mount. What I will do? Mount hyphen f NFS IBM1 colon slash ORADB test2 df hyphen h. See, test2 has been mounted successfully. Right? So it means which file system you share from NFS server, the same file system is able to mount from end user systems. It means multiple user can able to access at same time same mount point. Right? Now as I mentioned, if you want to mount the same at permanent basis, then you need to go for the va/etc/vfs tab. Here you need to come, you need to give like like this. However, you need to give /dev/dsk and that this one. Instead of that, I mean you supposed not to give like that. You need to give like this one. However, I mentioned here earlier I did once IBM1 colon slash ORADB, where you want to mount this test. You need to give test NFS hyphen yes hyphen and hyphen. What is that hyphen test? Test is nothing but device to FSCK, device to FSCK. I don't want to do any FSCK, so let it be. Mount point into give, I just given test. Okay, file system type I given NFS. Okay, it's not Unix file system, I given NFS. Then FSCK pass I given just like this FSCK pass. I don't want to do any FSCK when system is going to boot. Then mounted boot, yes, I want to do it should mount when system is going to reboot. and mount point option is I given mount point option is slash like that means I mean hyphen like that means it will be mount. So this is what the parameter you need to write when system is going to boot. It will mount automatically, even though if it will not mount at that time. You need to Unix admin need to mount the same at manually. Okay, I am not mounting it. Now suppose which one I mounted here. I mounted cat slash etc slash dfs tab, right? I given this, I write this here, and which file system is able to reach to different client end, right? So now what I'll do, I want to create one more directory. Suppose I'll create here mkdir slash oradb1, and in the oradb I'll write something. So let me enter cd oradb. I created this many files. In I created this many files in oradb1. So what I'll do, I'll come out here. Let me clear the screen. Now this oradb1, I want to give access only to IBM 2 or IBM 3 or IBM 4, whatever, it does not matter. Okay, I want to give access, suppose only IBM 2. So for that, IBM 3 and IBM 4, when they'll try to access, they suppose not to, because of I am not going to give permission to them. Okay, I am going to give permission to access only IBM 2. So how I will do that? Now I need to go vi slash etc slash dfs slash dfs tab, then come here, I will type sar hyphen capital F NFS, then oradb1. Okay, before this you need to give hyphen o read only, you need to give equal to hyphen o read only equal to IBM 1. Okay, this is what you need to write here. So for that, you will write IBM 1, if you write IBM 2, it means IBM 2 host can able to access it. IBM 3, IBM 4, they cannot. Okay, so this is what the parameter I written here. This is what the share point I written here. Now I want to save it. So let's save. After saving, you need to execute export fs hyphen v. Share all hyphen capital NFS. It means everything has been shared. It will execute show mount hyphen e. It will show whatever thing has been shared. See, oradb is showing to everyone. oradb1, it is shared only to IBM 2, right? So now let me create here db database 1 directory I created here. This database I want to mount with oradb 1, right? So how I will mount? I need to go mount NFS NFS, then IBM 1 colon slash ora DV1, then DV, hit enter key, DA5NH. See, this DV has been mounted with ora DV. The same, if you will try from IBM 3 or IBM 4, it will not happen. Suppose, let me create here DV2, and that I want to mount hyphen F NFS IBM 1 colon slash ora DV1, then DV2. What is saying? Permission denied. Okay, it will not mount. It can't possible. Okay, now take an example. Suppose I want to give some access to IBM 3 and IBM 4. Take an example. Okay, I want to give a SharePoint access to IBM 3 and IBM 4, and the same I don't want to give to IBM 2. So how it can work? Let's go ahead to do the same. Suppose here I'll create a directory called mkdir ora DB2, mkdir ora DB2. So let's enter ora DB2. Nothing is there, right? So touch file. I want to get 20 number of file. See, 20 file has been created here, right? Now let me come out. This ora DB2, I want to give mount point access to IBM 3 and IBM 4. The same I don't want to give to IBM 2. So what I'll do, I'll go to va/etc/dfs/dfs tab, then escape G, escape O, escape I, tab, write a share capital F NFS hyphen O read only equal to IBM 3 colon IBM 4, then slash ora DB2. Okay, I did not write here IBM 2, so save it, then export FS hyphen VA, so mount hyphen E, see what is saying? Oracle DB ora DB2, it's given permission to IBM 3 and IBM 4 to they can mount it, right? So let's go to IBM 3 and try to mount it. DB2 mount hyphen F NFS IBM 1 slash ora DB2, then DB2. See, it's mounted, right? Now the same I'll try from the NFS, IBM 4. DB3. Okay, mount hyphen F NFS IBM 1 ora DB2, then DB3 DA5NH. See, it has been mounted. If the same I'll try from IBM 2, it will not happen. So let's create that DB4. Okay, here DB4. Okay, let's open LTR. So DB4 has been created here. Let me clear the screen and mount it. NFS IBM 1 colon slash ora DB2, then DB2, right? Which one I created? DB4, right? So let's give DB4. What is saying? Permission denied. That's true, because we did not give permission to mount IBM 2. If you execute your so mount hyphen E, what is showing? For this ora DB we given permission only for IBM 3 and IBM 4. right? So this is what, if you want to give, if you want to write parameter like that way also, you can write parameter. And there are also some different way to give the parameter. Suppose you want to give suppose you want to write a share point to a particular IP address, to a particular network. Okay, so instead of giving the host, you need to give the network IP. Okay, or if you want to give permission to a particular site like .com, .in, okay, like that, then for that you need to configure first DNS, and according to that you will give you that parameter. Also I will mention in the description how it is to work. Okay, so if before that you will configure DNS, and some of the SharePoint also it will work over NIS. So for that NIS configuration is required as well. Okay, so this is what all about I given how to give how to share a directory, or you can say file system, from one place to different end user systems. Okay, how they can mount. But now the thing is, they are able to mount, but we did not check after they mount whether they are able to work in that particular file system or not, right? We did not check that. We need to check here. So what we'll do, if we'll come here, which is mounted here, test, right? If we'll execute here, df-h, test is mounted, right? So I want to put some data in the ORADB, okay, because test is mounted on our ORADB only, right? So if I'll put some data from client end, this same data will be reflect here. The same data will be reflect in the ORADB. Okay, now if I'll enter here cd ORADB, what is there? Only these three files are there, right? Now if I'll go there and I will do something, the same data will be reflected there, right? But before that, if IBM2 is having the right permission, then only he can write something in that. Okay, so let's first enter, so that we will come to know whether cd ORADB only, right? Sorry, cd test only. Okay, I'm sorry. Now these three things is there, right? We are on test, and in test these three things is there. If you create a file, now what is saying? Permission denied. So permission we do not have. So how we can give permission for the same? What we need to do? We just need to come here. And we need to give permission for the same. Then only they can. So how? First come out ls-ld ORADB. What permission is having? Is having this permission. So let's give full permission here. chmod 777 permission I am giving ORADB. Okay, ls-ld ORADB. Full permission I given, right? Now where it is? Now come out. Okay, you mount, remount, then you need to mount it. Mount -NFS IBM 1 :/ORADB, then test is mounted, then enter in the test ls-ltr, you are in test ls-ltr, then now try to sorry, try to create the file. See, now I am able to create the file. See, file 1 is there, right? Now if you want to check whether file 1 has been created here or not, it will be so, yes, it has been created here. See, file 1 has been created. Okay, the same moment when we are executing, the same moment ORADB access is having for everyone, right? So if you will check from the IBM3 also, it will show. From IBM side, it's mounted in the test 1, right? So just enter in the test 1, execute pwd ls-ltr. See, it's saying file 1 also is created, right? ls-ltr. File 1 also will created. Okay, if you want to check in the IBM4 also, you can check from the IBM4. From IBM4, it's mounted in the test 2, right? So you need to enter in the test 2, then into execute ls-ltr. See, file 1 also has been created, right? So here when you are giving permission to everyone, so everyone can create the file, everyone can create the directory, everyone put the data, everyone can edit the data, everyone can delete the data, everyone can execute the data, whatever they want they can do. Suppose here IBM 4, he want to create some file in the OraDB. So how it will be? Now he is already in the test, right? So here if we execute file 2, it will be taking, there will be noise. So we will execute here LSF and LTR, file 2 will be available. Okay, in the same time, if IBM 3 will see, one is there, also created from the different user. Different user means it will show nobody like that. Okay, if we will give username, then it will be showing here username. Okay, from these three it has been created, from these three file it has been copied by root only, right? So it's saying root. If it will be, and if it will create by different user, it will be showing here different user. Okay, now suppose here, take an example, let's come out, I want to add a user here, user add, let's check whether it's happening or not. Okay, password. Now I want to switch. Run. Okay, sudo, then I want to enter in test 1, not found. Okay, sudo cd test 1, sudo not found, it's saying. So sudo configuration need to be done here. Okay, however it is, let's come out. So that is what I was trying, whether for a particular user he is able to access or not, because as of now whatever thing we are doing by from IBM 1 we are doing by root user, and from different host we are doing in the root user also, but it will show nobody because of we did not specify any user. So that is what I was trying to check whether it's happening or not. So for that we need to configure the sudo only, it's saying right now. So this is what, if you give permission, then only it will happen. Like that, there will be the different, like this different kind of share parameter would be there. So for that you need to write those parameter. But before that, I want to show you some different parameter. Okay, but I'm not going to execute it. Okay, if you want to execute from your end, you can execute and you can do practice. And so for that you will be understanding from yourself whether it's happening or not. So one share point is there. So before that, let me go to IBM 1. Here I can go for DFS and DFS tab. Okay, here I want to write the parameter. Okay, there one more parameter. The parameter, if I write here like this one, NFS hyphen O, then read only dot read write, comma read write equal to, suppose I will give read write permission to IBM 3. Okay, then IBM 4, IBM 3 and IBM 4, then I will give your Aura DB 1. So what it will be happen, how I given here, this is IBM 3 and IBM 4, I return the share point like that only, so that they can mount it, they cannot write it. In that they cannot write, they can enter after mount from the client end, and they cannot write any file in that, because of they don't have write permission. So if you want to give the same moment to them write permission, you need to write the parameter like this, as then only they can enter in the OraDB and they can write the file. Okay, this is one parameter. Now one more parameter I want to show you, share hyphen NFS, then hyphen O, give read write dot eng dot son dot com, then I want to give suppose OraDB 1. So what it will happen, for this thing, okay, for this thing I did not configure now DNS, so if I'll give, it will be not going to work, then useless, it will be not going to work, okay, it will not make sense. So before giving this, before write this parameter, if you want to check, so for that you need to configure the DNS and then you can go ahead, okay. But how to configure DNS in Solaris, that video session I did not share still, but still how to configure DNS in the Linux, that video session already I kept in my YouTube channel. If still you want, you can go ahead and look forward it. There will be no difference. It will be the same only almost. If you can notify the same, you can apply in the Solaris box and you can do the DNS configuration, and successfully once you have done DNS configuration, you can come to DFS tab configuration file and you can write this parameter, you can write this SharePoint, and then the same you can check from the Sun Solaris site, okay, from Sun Solaris site whether you are able to access this directory or not. Okay, this is what one SharePoint you can write, okay. And yeah, and one more is there, I'll show you, one more is there, share. There are many more, okay, it's up to you how the requirement, according to that you can go ahead, okay. However, I know I am sharing with you. Suppose I want to give like that, read only, okay, equal, I want to give eng.son.com, then colon, I will give IBM4, okay, and I will give ORDB1. So what is the meaning of this SharePoint? This SharePoint meaning is nothing but, okay, when IBM4 will try to access this, when IBM4 will try to access this shared folder, with shared folder shared from the IBM1 called ORDB1, okay, he can access from, but before that he should be belongs to this Sun site, Sun Oracle site, okay. If you'll put IBM4 in the different site, then IBM, it does not make sense, okay. First you need to configure DNS there, and IBM4 should be belongs to IBM4 host should be belongs to this Sun Oracle site, okay, and when he will try to access this, he can access. This is what the parameter we need to write, okay. The same moment IBM3 and IBM4 also belongs to Sun Solaris, but they cannot access because of we did not write any parameter for them like this. If you has this, it will not work from them, because here you did not specify anything. The second line here, last second, you did not specify anything, so it will be show everyone, okay. If it has this, then IBM4 can only access ORDB, IBM2 and IBM3 they cannot access ORDB, okay, even though if still they are belongs to Sun Solaris organization, because of we given sunsolaris.com, right, okay. Now, so this is what all about NFS mechanism, how NFS mechanism works on Solaris, and how it is to work like separate way, and how it is to how we can give the permission, so for that they can enter in the shared folder and they can perform the day-to-day activity at a time. Multi-user from different server they can access and they can work. How you can privilege to a particular host from a particular organization, like how I given you. So for that DNS, as I mentioned, DNS configuration is required. Before that you have to do the same, right? So this is what all about this NFS, and NFS works like this such way. You need to understand. If still you do have any doubt or any confusion, you can write in the mail, you can write in the comment box, so that I can replay to you how according to your error you can troubleshoot the part, okay. End of this session, I would like to request you, please subscribe my channel, like and share, so for that I can bring much more video session for you, which will be making you better understanding, and so for that you can perform well. If you're working somewhere in the real organization, okay, you can perform well if you give your best. Thanks all to everyone to watching these videos.